I'm turning northbound onto Telegraph Road, heading north from the south side of St. Louis. If I'd gone one more exit down 55, I'd have been over there by right there at Jefferson Barracks, and if I'd skipped that exit, I would have gone right over that fancy bridge they got that runs across the Mississippi River over into Illinois. So, main reason I picked this road is, again, because of the whole CEO of Union Pacific making that suggestion, or those suggestions, to Donnie Trump about where to send the National Guard. And this stretch of road runs parallel to the Mississippi River, and there's a good stretch of it that runs alongside a bunch of railroad tracks. And there's also opportunity to see some of the really old east side, not East St. Louis, but the east side of St. Louis. Royal Orleans. Sorry about the jiggly picture. Maybe I need to figure out something better to do with that with my camera. Let's see if I can see if that'll help stabilize it. Stuck a spoon from Ben & Jerry's into the corner here. Again, I wanted to kind of show with an unclipped video what these long streets in St. Louis look like. Show you that it's not a cesspool or a burning pit or anything like that. Like I said in the last video, yeah, sure, we got areas in the city that are kind of run down. I'll even take you to show you those at some point. But I'm mainly wanting to go ahead and grab footage that runs near and around like the railroads and stuff, because I just don't see why why Union Pacific would be all worried about needing a National Guard in St. Louis. I'd also think that with as close as Governor Mike Keogh is allegedly working with our mayor, Mayor Spencer, that Mayor Spencer would know what's going on. Then again, she's pretty busy running the city, so she may not have the opportunity to really know what's going on outside. So if somebody has access to Mayor Spencer, and you happen to be watching this, which I doubt is going to happen, please have her check in on what Mike Keogh said about complying with Trump on the National Guard efforts for the safety of the state. I'm not real happy about that whole idea. National Guard is not law enforcement. National Guard, just like active duty military, is not required to follow unlawful orders. It's explained in the UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice. Can't quote you the article off the top of my head, it's been a while. But yeah. If somebody wanted to look that up and drop that in the comments, I'd be okay with that. In fact, I'd be great with that. I may have to check on that later. You can see that we're getting into an area here that is not as economically privileged as some of the other areas. I'm not sure what that big old thing is off to the right. It's taking up an awful lot of land. pipes that's running around there, though. Oh, those aren't pipes, it's framework. Like maybe it's petroleum storage. It is just right there on the edge of the river, though. So, might be a petroleum storage area. It's definitely not a processing plant. We don't have one of those here that I'm aware of. Although we do have a smoldering landfill that's got some leftover leftover radioactive material from the Manhattan Project. It's been quite the talk around here for, oh, there goes my prop. So I'll have to figure something else out. Interesting. But yeah, that led me into a conversation on a video that Simon Whistler did the other day, because just outside of St. Louis is a little place called Times Beach, Missouri. And the dioxin that was sprayed on the ground there that caused that city to become abandoned came from a factory. I'm trying to fix this real quick while I'm driving. A little factory in a little town called Verona, Missouri. And I grew up not far from there in a little town called Monette. So that sparked a rather interesting conversation between a few of us. But yeah, there's definitely a cancer cluster here in St. Louis over there by that landfill that's been smoldering since post-World War II, I'm guessing. Stuff's been dumped in there quite some time. But yeah, we had a uranium processing plant, from what I understand, here in St. Louis that did uranium enrichment for research and development of the Manhattan Project, which, as you may or may not recall from history class, was the project that gave us the nuclear bomb that did so much damage over there in Japan. South Public Supermarket, right across the street from a Dollar General. Alright, I'm definitely going to have to get a better camera mount. But yeah, this is, from what I understand, this little neighborhood right here, and it makes sense, would have been a riverfront community. And the way St. Louis was founded and the way it developed was a bunch of different ethnic groups came into the region, into the area. And of course they collected, the Italians with the Italians, and so on. It's Irish with the Irish, Germans with the Germans. So we got Germantown, and we got Bevos, and we've got the Hill. The Hill's got more. It was established by the Italians, and Bevos was the Dutch, and Germantown, of course, the Germans, and so on and so forth around town. So quite often you'll see those sorts of themes reflected, and of course, as the communities grew together, it created the greater St. Louis metropolitan area. And yet, the smaller communities still embrace their roots, and the greater of the whole embraces each community. We celebrate each community because diversity is our strength. I mean, it'd be kind of silly to have an Italian neighborhood in the middle of a metropolitan region and you not recognize them as part of your community. In my opinion, but what do I know? I grew up in a cult. And I've gotten to a point, too, after having gotten some death threats from some MAGA people and online, and some hardcore harassment because of sticking around in the MAGA community so that I could continue trying to work, trying to pull other people out of the cult. I got pretty thick skin now. And I've seen some of the activities in some of the other cities in the United States. And I'm not scared. I'm a Cold War era vet. I may be old, but I'm probably more sane now than I've ever been in my life. likely than not, anyway. Try this again. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully that'll work. Gateway Aluminum Main Office. Materials yard across the street. Nice. I don't want North 55. Again, like I said, one of these days I'll go out here and explore these neighborhoods more. I'll see about grabbing my son on one of those days and take him with me. Or I might have my girlfriend with me, or who knows. Or I might do it by myself. There's a lot of different options. Let's see, up here, I think, let's see if I can get down closer to the river. Well, no, that's right. Telegraph Road does get closer to the river. Right about now is when it'd be nice to have a few separate devices. Might have to figure out a way to do that. Maybe I should get a dash cam, but I don't know if that'll record a long enough stretch of time to do what I want to do. I don't know. Got some research to do. You'll see the arch keeps popping up there. Oh, I don't want 55. I want Telegraph Road. Oh. All of a sudden I'm on Broadway now. Oops. I don't think this is the direction I was wanting to go. I want to get closer down by the river. So, yeah. Can't do that here. Alright, we'll get there. In the meantime, definitely not the smoothest roads on this side of town, huh? long as we're still heading north and working towards the arch, that's kind of the direction I'm getting towards, or heading. was an area that I was thinking was a lot. Oh yeah, it's this road down here. Okay. Yeah, I want to go this way. There we go. Chippewa. Okay, that runs all the way back across town. Runs relatively parallel to Manchester. Oh my goodness, knocked my phone all out of whack, didn't it? Caught the glimpse of the tower at Lent Brewery pop up on the screen a moment ago. Yeah, we're over here by Budweiser now. Not far away from it. That goes back across town. Bush building. Their logo's on that door. Dorcas. Wow. Yeah, I definitely got to figure out a better way to mount my camera. Got this big JB Hunt storage lot over here. Hang on, let's go down here and check. Let's see what we got going on down here closer to the river. This is down here. This is obviously an industrialized area. Are there any problems going on down here? Because I know the railroad's got to be down here somewhere. Turn left for brewery entrance. Oh, okay. Yeah, no. Aha. JB Hunt designated trailers only. Interesting. Alright. I'm not seeing any trouble down here though. Camera jiggliness and wonkiness is definitely something I'm wanting to fix. It's another reason why I wanted to try it. Running around today, I wanted to see how this setup would work in different parts of town. You'll also notice that there's been a conspicuous lack of graffiti. Conspicuous lack of trash piled up. There are a couple of tent cities in town, but you'll see that it's not a overwhelming issue. They're relatively corralled, if you want to use that word. I'll have to figure out a better word for that. Then we do have some graffiti around town. You'll guy back there. He looked like he might have an interesting story to tell. Beard looked relatively unkempt, and he was wearing some oversized overalls that looked pretty rudimentary. I see people like that, and it makes me wonder. Oh, Sealard Farmers Market. That's a really fun place to go. On that note, yeah, supporting your local economy, your local market is really smart to do. Your farmers markets, rather than like going to Walmart or someplace like that to buy high dollar mass produced stuff, see if you have somebody in your area that does pottery. You know, makes plates and bowls and cookware and stuff like that. See if you can find a local artisan that you can trade goods with. Local honey, local eggs. Support your local economy. Try to see if you can work barter trade too. That's a good way to bolster a local economy. Starving artists are a real thing too. I feel kind of bad for not having bought any of my son's art, but money's tight. And yeah, that's that. Sounds like this when I wish I had somebody else with me. It'd be easier to carry on the conversation. Kind of ran through a variety of topics in that last video. I don't want to get stuck on any one particular topic. I guess I could talk some about Robert Maxwell. Of course, then again, I did a video about him, but yeah, I've been looking into his timeline as well. And Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's dad, was apparently working for. He fought for the British Army after escaping Czechoslovakia. He fought for the British Army in World War II, and then went on to MI6, which at that time was funded by the Rockefellers. Robert Maxwell was also key in providing, as I understand it, firearms and aircraft parts into Israel during the Arab-Israel War of 48. By 1952, 51 or 52, the MI6 was all in on, oh, there's that wacky sign that'll get you across the river if you're not careful. But, and we're about to hit downtown St. Louis. But anyway, it was like either in 51 or 52 when MI6 became fully invested in Robert Maxwell. Now, the reason I find him particularly interesting is as I was going through Alan Dulles' timeline, I picked up on a rather interesting detail on John Foster Dulles' timeline. In the mid to late 40s, John Foster Dulles was actually on the board at the Rockefeller Trust, who was funding MI6. This is parallel to his brother Alan Dulles being an OSS officer in Bern, Switzerland, interacting with a Nazi officer. And they did some idea exchanges from what I understand. But yeah, and then Alan Dulles met up with young Navy officer Richard Nixon in 45. And I believe it was in 48 when Nixon unseated the Roosevelt New Dealer. And then, of course, in 52, Nixon got elected vice president of the United States, sat in that office for 8 years, lost his bid for the Oval Office in 60 to JFK, who, as we know, was assassinated in 63, immediately followed by LBJ. And that whole Kennedy assassination thing, man, that's so complex. I've got a lot of details about it, but I do not have a clear answer. Even with everything that I've looked at, I still don't have a clear answer. One of these days, I'll sit down and put it all together. I need to do a thought map on it. But yeah, and then what was it? 68 when Nixon was elected, and then 72 he was reelected, and then he was drummed out. Of course, before he resigned, his VP, Spiro Agnew, he ended up resigning over some campaign contribution or some such. And anyway, he was replaced by Gerald Ford, who ended up replacing Richard Nixon. And then when Gerald Ford vacated his VP seat and was made president, Congress appointed father of NATO, a certain Nelson Rockefeller. And yeah, so, and they lost to the Carter administration. And then there was that Tehran hostage crisis right there at the end. And let's see, who was CIA director at the time that the Iran hostage crisis was going on? That was George H. All right, well, you'll notice a jump there. I had a phone call come in, kind of messed things up. So, oh, right, I must turn right. I don't want to turn right. I want to go forward. I want to get down here closer to the rail yards. Yeah. There's the old Union building. Right, yeah. We go down that way. Let's see. Alright, oh, so we're down behind. Okay, this is so. Riverfront access. Can't go that way. Oh, wow. Floodgates. Greenway Trailhead, Riverport Trail. Union Light and Power Company. Alright. So that's what's down here. I am not going up into the Ashley Energy compound there. That was a neat little side adventure. Yeah, and I'm not seeing any troubles down here. Pretty clean looking. Interesting architecture down here too. Okay, so we're still over here on the east side of St. Louis, not far from the river. And this time I made it all the way up to the north side of town. And I just had that one cut in there because of that phone call. And I'm gonna take you down in here in this neighborhood. And even for as rough as it is, it's not on fire, it's not a sinking hellhole. None of that. St. Louis Southwestern Freight Depot. Okay, so that's a dead-end street. And there's plenty of graffiti. Now, I saw a video a while back of a homeless community that was living in a building that was not too dissimilar to that one. Oh, somebody's got like a little community garden or something, park, theater, community theater, or something there. Can't tell for sure. Exploring is how we find things. And I'm not wandering off down that way. Let's go back into the street. You can tell from the architecture down here that's it's definitely an older part of town. Right here. See that or not? That's looking across the river into Illinois. Not going over that way. It's called Mound Street. Looks like it might have been a lot worse down here, but also looks like there's some sort of monument or something. I don't know what's going on there. Somebody's done some dumping, that's for sure. Sign's gone. That's a shame. Like I said, we've got our issues out here. But there's not like massive homeless encampments and stuff. Let's go ahead and continue on north. Tell some of the buildings are not in the greatest condition, but still, I mean, why does the CEO of Union Pacific think the National Guard needs to be sent to St. Louis? I keep playing this thing in my head, that whole John Galt speech. Let's see what I can do about splicing it in on the end here. But the government kept trying to get John Galt, that corporate mega whatever, to come back and join the government, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Y'all need to get out of the way because we the people can handle it. We're mature enough. We can do this. You're causing us problems. See, I think personally, I think that might have been the direction that Ayn Rand was going with Atlas Shrugged, or Atlas Shuttered. I'm confused now. But yeah, so this is on Broadway. I made it from Telegraph Road to Broadway. Looks like there's the McKinley Bridge right up here. And that's pretty far north as far as along the riverside goes, and even with rundown buildings, they're not in horrible shape. We're not a beat up, tore up city. I don't care what Donnie Boy says. I don't care what the CEO of Union Pacific says. We got this. We got this. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and call it quits on this. It's probably getting long enough. But, yeah. Until I decide to make up the next video or figure out which part of town I'm going to next. Y'all take care of yourselves, man. Y'all take care of yourselves.
Ladies and gentlemen, Head of State Townsend.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. Tonight, I get to talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Thompson will not speak to you tonight. His time is up. For years you've asked, who is John Galt? You've asked that question in despair and resignation as factories closed, goods became scarce, jobs disappeared. Your lives are becoming more difficult as the life force of your world is draining away. You have asked that question without expecting an answer. I'm here to answer it. This is John Galt speaking. Mr. Thompson won't tell you the truth about the crisis in your world. I will. Have you noticed that as everything around you seems to decline, one thing still grows? It is the power of your rulers. None of their plans and directives have solved your problems or made your life better. The only result has been their increased control over you at the cost of your freedom. Do you know why? You gave them the power. They called for your sacrifice, and you thought it was noble. They said if you worked for yourself and your family, that you were selfish and uncaring, and they made you feel ashamed. They denounced the leaders of industry as greedy exploiters, the Ellis Wyatts, the Hank Reardons, and again, you agreed. And then you ask, why did they and others like them disappear? I took them from you. Their achievements flowed from their creative minds. Once they understood that the attempt to control their work was an attempt to control their minds, they left. The people on strike worked for themselves, for their own vision of what was possible. When they recognized the honor they deserved, they rebelled against the guilt you wanted them to feel for their success. You counted on them to keep producing, to keep thinking, even as you denounced them as selfish. I showed them they were being punished for their own virtues, and I showed them how evil that is. I made it my mission to help these heroes say no. All evil needs to win is the consent of good people. They have joined me to freely produce, trade, cooperate, and compete in a place where the rights of all are protected. Do not try to find us. Do not try to bargain for our return. Get out of our way. To everyone within the range of my voice, you now have a choice to make. If you decide to support the notion of sacrifice enforced by the state, your game is up. Your world is in a downward spiral, and you will ride it down to destruction. But if you share the values of our strike, if you believe that your life is a sacred possession for you to make the most of, if you want to live by the judgment of your own mind, not edicts from the state, then follow our lead. Do not support your own oppressors. Stop letting the system exploit you. Form your own communities on the frontiers of your crumbling world. Your rulers hold you by your endurance to carry the burdens they impose, by your generosity when you hear cries of despair, and above all, by your innocence which cannot grasp the depths of their evil. The world you are living in is the world they wanted. Leave them to it. Those who have left you are eager to build a better world, a world of freedom and opportunity, a world based on mutual respect. In that world, you will rise in the morning with the spirit you knew in childhood, the spirit of eagerness and adventure, and the confidence that the world is what it is and is there for you to discover. In that world, you will not receive alms, nor pity, nor forgiveness of sins, but honor, respect, and justice. Don't let the fire go out spark by irreplaceable spark in confusion and despair. Be sure of your path. The world you desire can be won. It exists. It is real. It is possible. It is yours.
Come on, let's go. Did that just happen? Stop that damn buzzing noise.
In the name of the best within you, do not sacrifice your sense of life to an enemy that would claim your precious mind. Do not let your fire go out spark by irreplaceable spark. Do not let the hero in your soul perish in lonely frustration for the life you deserve but have never been able to reach. The world you desire can be won. It exists. It is real. It is possible. It is yours. This is John Galt speaking.